Okay, so some of the last two tools here on selection tools will be the elliptical and the rectangle selection tool and the selection tool by colors. So let's just open up a new file. You open up anything random, just a square, maybe background color can be white for the purpose of this. I got a rectangle, so there we go, good enough. The rectangle tool is just up here, denoted by R as well. So if I hit R, I will bring my mouse cursor to the rectangle tool and select it. Rectangle tool is used for selecting images. It's limited to its rectangular or square shape, depending on what I draw. So as you can see, I can draw any number of or any size here. So this is good for selecting an image you're finished working on more than anything. It's also good for making shapes if you need to make shapes for whatever reason. But we'll just go into the color picker here. And again, what I did was rectangle tool. Now I've moved to the paint fill, bucket fill tool. I'm going to choose a color to fill with. And I'm going to fill my shape. I'm going to draw another one. And I'm going to fill it with a different color. Looks good to me. And our elliptical tool as well. And we'll fill that with a different color. And another example of our elliptical tool in the middle. And we will fill that with another color as well. Okay, that's obviously behind or in the background. We can change that by pulling it forward, whatever you want. I'm going to leave it where it is. And I'm actually going to change the color of the square over here as well. Deselect it first, sorry. Control Shift A. I'm going to change the bottom one as well to the same color. So elliptical tool, rectangle tool, pretty straightforward, selecting that shape or circle shape or oval shape horizontally or vertically, square or rectangle, thin rectangular areas, etc., etc. Sometimes used to make shapes, sometimes used to select parts of an image. The oval could be used to select around the face, etc., etc. on a picture as opposed to the background to make a kind of a stylized, like a frame or something for it. So in this case, we've made two the same color. Maybe we'll make one more just for contrast's sake. And we'll make that as well a recent color, like green. And we'll fill it over here. Okay, so Control Shift A, deselect that. I'm going to come down to my Select by Color tool. And now when I click on a color in my image, it should select all the colors represented by that color or that are the same. So example, my two colors here in my rectangles have just been selected by choosing that color. Again, my circle and rectangle here have now been selected by choosing that color. So the third tool to give you is the Select the Color tool, which just selects regions with similar colors. And we also have the Fuzzy Select tool. So this is selecting a contiguous region on the basis of color. So we'll do Control Shift A, and I'm going to just click inside and selects the whole region. Click inside, selects the whole region on the basis of color. So if I had a image with multiple colors on it and I select on one color, it should generally, in the region that it has set, it should select that color it finds in that region. So it can get pretty complex when you're working with lots of color or foliage or natural settings or leaves and things like that. So play around with the Select by Color. If you wanted to change a hue or saturation of that color, then you could come up here. Once I've selected hue, chroma, color temperature, I'm going to play around with this, move it over, and maybe I'll slide my hue down and change that hue. Now I'm changing just that color. So as you can see, selecting by color can be useful. And this tool, again, was the Fuzzy Select tool to select a contiguous region of the basis of color. This allows me to select a whole color of green, say inside the foliage of a tree, and change the color. So maybe I see dying leaves in the late fall and I want to change them to bright orange. I could use this fuzzy tool, select that foliage, and use my adjustments here to change the foliage to make it look brighter, more vibrant, more pop, etc., etc. But you get the idea. Many of the color tools here, levels, curves, etc., I can change at any time. I can adjust the color, hue, and saturation of an image. So I'm going to just show you another one. Curves here allows me to kind of pull the line here up and down for similar idea, input and output. This is to adjust color. I can, really manipulate the color this way. You'll be using this later on, I'm sure, in a number of different projects because color becomes into play a lot as you go. But I've just now changed it to purple. I can change smooth or freehand, blending, etc., etc. Up here, lots of other options we'll get into later when we talk about curves and color settings. We'll hit OK. So add a bunch of shapes, recreate this, practice, learn something new, try out those 3 tools. See you soon.